Hey guys, what's up? It's Dean. I've made a video in a little while. That's mainly due to my internet being capped. But I'm back, and today's video is going to be a little bit of a personal one. Um, it's gonna be a new series, which I would like to call Public Chat. It's basically when I talk about a topic. It does not have to necessarily have to do with gaming. Just something in the news. If you would like to leave a topic for public chat, please leave a comment, and I could maybe make a video out of it. Anyways, today's video is just going to be a bit of a Who's Dean type video. I'm basically going to tell you a bit about me, a bit about what I've been through, a bit about my life story, and all that jazz. And so you don't get bored, I've put a clip of me playing as my level 90 warrior, Pandaren warrior, doing some LFR. So I hope you enjoy that. But anyways, so I'm Dean. I am Australian. I was born in Western Australia. When I was 7 months old, I was taken into foster care because my biological mother didn't know how to take care of me. But we have since patched things up. And yeah, I am 19 years of age. Currently unemployed, I know, but it's not without the lack of trying. I've tried, just no one's given me a chance, so to speak. So yeah. Anyways, I was a pretty shy kid growing up. I really did care what people thought of me, because I would like to think of myself as a people pleaser. I like to, make people happy, and so they think the best of me. I moved schools quite a lot in primary school. That was mainly due because I had a speech impediment. I still have a slight one now, and I had difficulty reading and writing due to my dyslexia. But that got better. It got so much better, in fact, that you can hardly tell I'm dyslexic. My handwriting is a little bit messy, but in terms of reading, I read like a normal 19-year-old should. Oh, yeah, I read like I should be reading. I only rarely get words jumbled up. Yeah, I used to wear glasses, but since have been said I have 20/20 vision, so I stopped wearing them. Yeah. In school, in primary school, and mostly throughout high school, I was a victim of being bullied. Yeah, I was a pretty easy target. I was small, and I'm still. I'm not really small now, but I'm still. I'm not tall, but yeah, I'm just sort of medium. So I was a easy target for bullies. I would I wouldn't tell anyone about it. I would just sort of do my own thing. And if they bullied me, then they bullied me. I didn't tell anyone about it. I always stood up for my friends when they were being bullied. I thought to myself, well, I would rather be the one being bullied than them, because, you know, I've sort of learnt to deal with it. So throughout high school, I would always stick up for them, and I ended up getting the majority of it until about year 10, in which most of the bullies actually grew up, and I'm glad to say that I'm actually friends with most of them, all but one, actually. You know, it's easy to forgive someone for doing that stuff when you realize that they're just boys, they were young, they didn't know any better. So, I forgave them, but this one kid refused to grow up, so I don't really talk to him anymore. Yeah. Yeah, as I said, even though I was bullied, I did have friends. They were very awesome. But I had this one particular friend, Andrew. Well, I called him Andy. I met him in year 5. I showed him around the school. I was tasked with showing him around the school. And the first thing he asked was, where was the dunny? You know, because he's country kid. Now, for all the non-Australians out there that that perceive all Australians for being, you know, out back in the country riding kangaroos and stuff, that's not true. Actually, most of Australia is cities. Australia has Australia has states rather than I lost track. Yeah. Anyways, Australia, there's a city in every state and territory. I live in Western Australia, so Western Australia has Perth, and that is considered, quote unquote, the city. And that's really where I'm from. I live on a farm, but it's just a hobby farm. It's about 10 minutes away from the nearest train station. It's really, you know, I'm well off. You know, I'm not living out 400 k's from nowhere. So, yeah, so he's from the country. Anyways, we got along, we became best buds over the years. We grew into more like brothers. You know, he was more of a brother than my own brothers were. So, and then I think when I was about 15, he moved down south to his dad. So it's about 8 hours down south to his dad's. We would still talk and stuff, but our means of communicating, our means of having fun, even though he was 8 hours away from me, was this game called RuneScape. Now, I know what you know. If you've heard of RuneScape, you probably think it sucks, and you know what? I think it sucks too. But back then, I thought it was awesome. And we used to play for hours, and all our spare time was on RuneScape, you know, getting levels, making gold. We actually made our first 1 million gold together because we found out this awesome way. Snapgrass, I think. Back then, Snapgrass, and we were so excited when we made our first 1 million gold, and we bought our first dragon two-handed sword, and we'd go to the duel arena and duel each other. It's like, hey man, look, this is fucking awesome. You know, oh yeah. So, yeah. That was for a couple of years till I was about almost 17, so maybe like a year and a half. And then he moved back down here with his grandparents, which is where he was originally. He was living with his grandparents when I first met him, and you know, it's like I had my best friend back. You know, it's we went out. He got his license. We went out camping and all that good stuff, and yeah, we were, in all sense of the term, like brothers. You know, in my foster family, for the longest time, I was the youngest child. Both my older foster brothers, I've got two of them. One's turning 30, one's turning 27. So when I was growing up, they were pretty much out of the house. So he was my best friend, and he was my brother. You know, we were there through everything. Even if he was living 8 hours away from me, I would tell him everything, and he would give me support. And you know, you guys could say, "Oh, that's gay," and everything, but to have someone willing to go through everything with you, that's just the purest form of friendship and the purest form of brothers that you could possibly get. Anyways, I'm sidetracking. So he came back down. We went out camping. We went fishing, and he came and slept over a couple of times, and we played RuneScape until all hours of the morning, and it was just an amazing friendship. And then we actually had the opportunity to move out of our respective guardians' houses, because he was living with his nana and pop, and I was living with my foster mom and dad. And move in and rent out a house with my older foster brother. The house belonged to my foster parents. So we jumped at it. We went in. We packed our stuff, and we went to live about 20 minutes away from my foster parents' house. And it was good for about 3 weeks or so. And then I met this girl. It always starts off with, then I met this girl. Her name, it doesn't even matter what her name is. Let's just call her Amy. Me and Amy met when I went to my 18th birthday party that my biological mum was holding for me, or was having for me, and she was actually a friend of my auntie's. Now, my auntie is 2 years younger than me. So, just so you know. And Amy was 19 at the time. And we hit it off, We stayed up until all hours of the night. playing Uno, and we made these rave bracelets. Well, she made me rave bracelets, and they were like, yeah, everywhere. And then I made rave bracelets for her. And then she moved. No. I'm getting ahead of myself. Then I got a number. We had a kiss. And I went back home. Or I stayed the night at my biological mom's house. But I went back home. I texted her. And then she asked me out. Now, I had feelings for Amy. She made me feel what no other girl had made me feel. You know, she made me feel loved. She made me feel accepted. And she made me feel happy. And then, I said yes. I was like, sure. Of course. You know, if you like someone as much as I liked Amy, you would want to spend as much time as you can with them. So I was like, yeah, let's go out. So we started dating, and that was pretty good for about 4 days, and then she gradually started spending more time at my house, which was good, you know. And then gradually she would spend more time, and she ended up only going home once a week for work, because she only worked once a week. She only went home the night before she had to work, and then when she got off work, she would come straight back here, straight back to my house, which was awesome. You know, for the first time in my life, I thought myself independent, and you know, you have this girl who wants to be with you, and loves you. It was just amazing. So that was good for about another 3 weeks, and then she started a fight between me and my brother, and I ended up getting kicked out of that house along with her. And you know, I was like, all right. So I ended up moving into my biological mom's house with her, and that was pretty good. Until the situation sort of caught up with us, and she caught up with us not having sort of the privacy that we used to have. And then she actually dumped me. And that made me sad. That made me the saddest I've ever been. That may be the saddest I ever felt at the time. And while that's going on, my brother, he's the worst person you'd wanna live with. So while that's going on, my brother and Andy, kept living at the house I was living at. And then me and my biological mum weren't getting along very well. We were both stubborn. So I ended up moving out of there and moved back in with my foster parents, which is where I currently reside. And then I was arguing with Amy because I started a few feelings for her, and pretty much as soon as she dumped me, she just turned her feelings off for me. So I feel like I was used, abused, and what have you. So after that, I receive a call. Before we get into that, me and Andrew we were still talking, but we weren't as close as we were because at the time when he was living in that house, he didn't have any internet. He didn't really have credit. So I'd go down and see him when I could, but besides that, yeah. So, on December the 27th, wait, no, before I get into that, Andrew and my brother had a fight. Andrew ends up moving back in with his grandparents. My brother ends up moving in with his girlfriend's family. Yeah. So, anyways, on December the 27th, I received a call at night. I was laying in bed watching some Supernatural. I received a call from Andrew's nan, and the call I will never forget this call. She was panicked and told me Andrew tried to kill himself. She had already rung the paramedics. So then I, with my dad, because I don't have my license, drove to their house where the paramedics were trying to resuscitate him, to no avail. That night I lost my brother, my best friend, the only person I could ever confide in completely without them turning their back. And then my depression started showing, because I do have depression. And I was there when paramedics told his family that he had passed away. He hung himself because, what I come to learn later, my brother introduced him to different kinds of drugs. He was a weed smoker. I already knew that. I was fine with it. But other drugs. And he ended up in a $5,000 drug debt, and seeing no other option, decided to kill himself. No, I can never truly forgive Andrew for doing that. Just for leaving me here. But what's done is done. And if there is an afterlife, I'm sure we're going to meet again. And yeah. So that was December 27th, 2012. January 4th was his birthday. So I had the painful obligation, I took it upon myself to alert his friends of his passing. And through that, because I made a page for him, through that I meet a girl. Her name is Ellie. Now, at first I thought Ellie was cool. I wasn't quite sure how she knew Andrew. I come to learn later, or I come to learn when she told me that she is his ex-girlfriend. That's cool. She has a 2-year-old son at the time. That's cool. And she didn't have any other way to get to the funeral, so I decided, I asked my mum and dad if they could pick her up, and they did. That was awesome. And then I took her to the funeral, and I was there when she broke down into tears. I'll never forget when she broke down into tears. It's just horrific as a man seeing another girl cry. Seeing a girl cry and being powerless. You feel so weak. So, yeah. Anyways, so the funeral passes. Me and Ellie get to know each other a bit better. I help her move houses with my other friend Aaron, and yeah. Then she tells me that her son could be his son, and she made me promise not to tell anyone, which I didn't. I didn't tell anyone. Then I found out that she knew Amy, and then Amy told her our history, and then Ellie turned on me. So I told Andrew's nan and pop about Ellie and how her son could be Andrew's son. And I just left it at that, really. And then my biological mom announces that she's getting married to a terrific man called Kyle. And you know, Kyle was a father figure to me. I love him like a fatherly figure. And then I had no one to go to the wedding with. I had no date. So I was on Oasis. If you don't know, Oasis is a dating site, and I met this other girl. Her name's Tiffany. And I will never ever regret meeting her, because on that fateful day of the wedding, which I invited her to, first time meeting, glad she wasn't a guy, glad she wasn't who she said she was. Glad she was who she said she was. I fell in love with her. And we have now been dating just over a year. My longest relationship. I ended up moving in with her, but things got stressful, so I moved out. We're still dating. Things can't be happier. I do intend to marry this girl. And yeah, things do have a silver lining. I'll never ever forget Andrew. At my wedding, I'm going to have a portrait of Andrew, just so he can be there in spirit. And I will always thank him for keeping me on the right track. Thank you for listening, and thank you for everything. Alright guys, that is my time for now. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. There's going to be more videos coming out because my internet